Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to another episode, a very special episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast right here on Chop Sports Media's YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast. Dave Sturchio alongside nationally known comedian Bret Ernst. And today, I would say filling in, but you are an honorary Jersey boy at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, from DLLS, Cowboys and everything, Twitter, follow him everywhere. Jesse Holley, Mr. Fourth and Long himself. Jesse, how we doing, bro?
What's going on? But I am a Jersey boy though. Like that's who I am at my core. I am Jersey. I'm from Jersey. I rep Jersey. I bleed Jersey. Like Jersey is in me. So I am a Jersey boy through and through.
Listen, no arguments here, bro. No arguments here. We need all the reassurance.
You're not honorary on this podcast.
Okay, I get it. All right, fair. Very fair.
Clarify your statement, Dave.
Clarify the statement up. All right, man. So look. We are literally, as we record this Tuesday afternoon, we are 2 days away from brand new, how should I say this, a heartache in the making, whatever. It's only a matter of time before these boys rip our hearts out, but we just don't know when. So it's a matter of just like pick your poison. But first and foremost, before we get into anything else, obviously you've covered it at length with DLLS and everything you guys do over there, which, by the way, great show. Go check them out every day. I'm watching you guys. I'm one of those paid subscriber guys, you know what I mean? I'll donate to the cause once in a while.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So Micah Parsons, right? We talked about it at length, and I know this is kind of like beating a dead horse at this point, but I kind of wanted to get your feel of where you think the temperature of the room is now that we're 4 or 5 days removed from the trade. Practices have been going on. Is there a winner of this trade, or do you have to talk to me in a couple of years when we find out who you draft with all those picks we got?
I think you hit it on the head. I mean, the biggest winner out this all is David Malugetta, right? Like he got his 3%, to the max. He adds another one of the largest record-breaking contracts to his ledger. Talk about a guy who can walk into any college recruit's house right now and say, listen, you want to get paid? You want to be with me. Look what I've done for the athlete that I've represented. I've done over $1 billion in contracts in one calendar year. So if there is a winner in this all, it's David. It's David Malugetta and Athletes First Agency. But I think you're right. I think you're going to have to wait a couple of years until you see what the Cowboys can do with their draft picks. Because if they go and they find – 2 more Hall of Famers, or they turn that into something more significant. If it is the Herschel Walker type situation, then you go, you know what? Everybody's a winner. Green Bay got a great player. The Cowboys got great players, and nobody loses in this situation. But if Micah goes to Green Bay this year and is the defensive player of the year, and he ends up helping that team get to a Super Bowl, you're looking around now, you're going, well, God, dog, you know what I'm saying? Or if the Cowboys decide, hey, we got rid of that headache and now we've gotten ourselves situated and they get to a place they haven't been to in 20-odd years, you'll say, I do think it takes some time for me. And I don't know if you guys remember, about a year ago, the internet was on my head, okay? When I came out and I had the viral comments about what I said about Micah Parsons, and Micah's mother wanted my head and his brother wanted my throat, and the fans wanted me, tarred, plucked, and feathered and just strung out there, for the world to see about things that I said about Micah. But I know this, guys. You don't win in this league without damn good players. And feel however you feel about Micah Parsons, and I felt that and I vocalized that. I didn't want to see him go, because it's so hard to replace that level of talent. Those guys aren't falling off the back of the Apple truck every single day. And when you have a player like Micah and all the drama that he may bring, he takes Osa from a C player to a B player. He takes Sam Williams from a C player to a B player. He takes, all the other guys around him, and their game elevates because they have more opportunity to do things at a one-on-one basis because all the attention is focused on Micah Parsons. So overall, I think it'll take some time to see who's the winner or loser in it all. But I hated to see it happen. I hated to see it happen. I didn't think it was a great thing.
I want to interject real quick. Our run game was an F. Okay, there was no going from a B to a C. Edge we had the edge right now. In my opinion, I'm ready. I mean, we got to talk about it. Me personally, mentally moved on. It was like, we had a strong 9 as a girlfriend, but now we got an 8. You know what I mean? I think as far as
is that all the drop off is an 8? I thought it was
listen, you got a 6 with a nice booty. Stop. Okay.
Not for me, man. We got a girl.
You got a 6 with some nice titties. Like, we're not like let's
me
be real
finish.
here. Like, Kenny
Not
Clark
physically.
is not going to be the guy that's going to come in here and all of a sudden. And Kenny
But
Clark's
you'll have
Pro
dinner
Bowl
ready.
season, and Kenny Clark's Pro Bowl season, the Packers did not have a definite run. They were one of the worst run defense teams in the league, and this was Kenny's Pro Bowl season. So you got a 6.5 with a nice rack.
I was gonna say, but she'll have dinner ready. The house will be clean. All right, we're not talking what she looks like. And he didn't let me finish.
Brett said that, not Jesse Holley. He said he's not buying her watch. There's
we got a passport chick. No, it's a need that we needed. There was a lot going on. For me personally, it's defined now. It's like if we didn't sign, I didn't get to speak on this because I think Jerry's full of crap too, because when he was like, this is the plan all along, it's like, come on, buddy. You offered him still the highest paid. If you thought he was all those problems, then why would you even offered him a contract? And you would have traded him when you could have maybe gotten more or earlier. You know what I mean?
Draft.
Yeah. And that is nonsense. And then, as far as like the big games where Micah didn't step up, where I thought, would he have 1 sack in the playoffs, and it was against Green Bay and it was in the fourth quarter.
No, it was against Tom Brady.
I'm sorry, Tampa. Yeah, it was Tom Brady. I meant we've moved on. We filled a need, which we didn't have. I think having him and Osa back together could really help, because the run game is our problem, man. And I'll tell you right now, I think the linebacking core has improved this year. I just think Micah, to me, was top 3 pass rushers. I have a question for you though, because I put him, because they never really put him at outside linebacker. They always just put him at the edge when we needed a linebacking core. Was there something lacking in his linebacking development that they just said, no, we're going to stick him at the edge because that's where we need him? Or because we really needed help in the second level, and they never really put him there. They just always put him on the line.
Yeah, when he was here, remember, he started out as a linebacker and then broke his foot or hurt his foot or something like that. And out of necessity, they moved him to edge rusher. And voila, Dan Quinn found this magnificent edge rusher coming off the end, and Micah Parsons. And then, if you remember going back to the Green Bay game, they were talking about maybe putting him back at linebacker. What ended up happening, in my opinion, and this, take it however you want it, and people can judge me however you want it. Once Micah got a taste of what it was to be a rush in, Micah didn't want to put in the work it took to be because at rush in, there is truly no responsibility. It's been back, go get the quarterback. At linebacker, I got to read keys, things change and all that. I got to flow. I got to read. There's too much thinking and too much responsibility. Am I calling him a dumb athlete? No, I am not calling him a dumb athlete. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that Micah found a love for just going to do the simplistic thing, and it would have taken a lot more of studying. It would have taken a lot more of him applying just his athletic ability to be a good linebacker. What made a guy like Sean Lee, what made a guy like Ray Lewis, what made a guy like Luke Kuechly, those type of Patrick Willis, and one of my favorite players is Fred Warner. What makes those type of linebackers just absolutely dogs is their ability to absolute diagnose what's happening before it happens and then go hunt. Micah didn't want to put in that work. I believe.
Right.
I believe that he didn't want to put
I
in
thought
that
there
work.
was something there. There was a red flag there that
And because of that, you have the to pick your poison. Do I keep beating a dead horse and saying, hey, study, improve, read your keys, or do I say, you know what, dog, just go get the quarterback. We'll figure it. Go get the quarterback. We'll figure the rest out. And I think that's what it became, because he became so good at just going to get the quarterback.
Jesse, did you see that the Packers though picked up his 5th-year option as an outside linebacker, so it saved them money?
Yeah.
I realized that because I was that type of player where I didn't put the time in the films as much. And by the way, LIU, we got killed by Florida this weekend, 55-0. But that was the type of player I was. I was a lazy film guy. And that's why I would come in on the nickel, and my coach would just say, go get the quarterback. And I'm mature enough to say where my faults were, where I didn't put that time in a lot. You know what I mean? And that matters. And I saw that. I'm like, yo, that's kind of similar. You know, I less responsibility I had, and just let me go get the quarterback, or like I said, I was always the nickel guy.
And that's where he made his money, and that's why they paid him the way they paid.
But for the Cowboys, I think this, and I know it sounds crazy, and me and my brother were vocal about this, especially my brother, that if we would have gotten, we were on it, which would have never have happened. When you said Fred Warner, that's our guy. I would have been like, yo, if we could just trade Micah for Fred.
I would have been in love, like legitimately. Like Fred Warner is one of my favorite. When I go and watch film, I look for what games can I watch the 49ers defense play, because that's how much I love watching Fred Warner play football.
Yeah, he's a savage. I think he's the best, in my opinion, best defensive player in the league right now.
He's up there. Now, Jess, obviously, like I said, Micah Parsons stuff, it comes and goes. We'll have to see on Thursday. We'll talk about the Eagles in a couple minutes, but we'll have to see how they react and see what kind of pressure they can develop off the edge. And we're hoping a lot or at least we're wanting and wishing a lot from a lot of these young guys. So we'll get into that in a second. But
we got Sam Williams, right? We got
we got Sam Williams. We got
edge rushers. It's not. We have more. We had more. Fowler, we got more. We had more of a problem in the interior than we did on the edge.
And I think Kenny Clark's a fine player. And like you said, Jesse, I mean, the stats don't lie. Like even in his big year, the Packers were dog shit against the run that year. But again, fresh face, new start for both guys, for both parties.
What we didn't have that D lineman that gets the penetration and stops the O lineman from getting to that second level. And he's good, man. He's a good.
I also want to say this, guys.
One of the better defensive tackles.
Let me also say this, because I think sometimes we focus in on certain things and we miss the bigger picture. Like when we talk about running in the middle, like the Cowboys just didn't get beat behind the center. Like
they ran at Micah.
Like they ran at Micah. Like they got when teams decided, especially in late November and December and in the playoffs, when teams decided they were going to run the football, it wasn't just because they ran behind their center and they ran outside, they ran counter, they ran traps, they ran leads, they ran it wasn't just the middle. We talk about the middle because we want to get pressure up the middle, not only in the run game, but also in the pass game. But teams ran all across the offensive line. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, you name the backs. They ran left, they ran right, they ran down the middle, they ran outside. It wasn't just down the middle. So like I get what you're saying about Kenny Clark being there, but damn it, they're gonna still run to the left outside. They're still gonna run to the right outside. Like that whole defensive line, the emphasis is, we need to be more stout in the middle. And yes, you do. You need to be more stout across the front because teams just decided like third quarter, listen, we're going to run the ball 7-8 times in a row. And when you get to that point, when they run the ball 7-8 times in a row, they've lost respect for anything that you can do to stop them.
But you do know if you're getting that penetration we need, like on a counter or on a trap, those guards, if you're back there and they're trying to pull and, you're still disrupting the play. It does help.
No, 100%. But it's not just the middle, right? It's like
but it's also disrupting the
rushing yards last year, just up the middle.
Pulling or the guard pulling. When you're back there and they got to get around you, it's harder to do a sweep. There's a lot there. And I think our linebacking core improved. I love Shamar James. Leofau, I mean, what we saw in preseason, he was balling. I know it sounds crazy. We lost an elite player, but I think in the long run, it may help the team better if we've stepped up that need.
That's the one thing I'm tripping up on the media side of things. And I understand that these reporters and the beat guys, and they all have to answer ask their questions and try to, peel back the onion as much as possible. But let's knock off the whole asking players about how they felt about the trade. You know what I mean? Like, look, it's a culture shock. Everybody knows it. Micah Parsons was your best defensive player. That's
and
it.
No one's going to say, we're get rid of the bum. No one's going to say that.
No, we're not. Right. We're not at all.
But like for them to ask continuously, they're asking the Diggses of the world and Dak, and even Dak was like, you could feel like he was fed up with it. He's like, well, you guys said this. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming it got personal. Like he really wasn't knee deep like everybody else was. So anyway, look.
But we got rid of the question whether it was just lingering. It's like, look, either
does he suit up this Sunday? I don't know. We'll see. I think he's going to do everything in his power to do it. But when you're making $47 million, can you imagine if we gave him that contract and now he's sitting on the sidelines with a sore back or whatever? Like people will be in an uproar. You know what I mean? So.
And to give Jerry credit, I mean, Micah's the number one jersey.
Micah's back is really hurt. I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. Okay?
No.
Back.
I mean, you can tell just based off the reaction video when he got traded. You know what I mean? Like you're jumping around his living room. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw your tweet.
Yeah. But we both know that for Jerry to give up probably the number one jersey sales.
He'll make another jersey sale.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It must have not gonna move in any.
Well, Dak Prescott owns that.
Is it Dak? I thought Micah was number one.
No. It was always Dak. Dak was always a popular commodity in Dallas. Speaking of Dak Prescott, Jesse, last year when we talked to you right before the season, we said a lot. The things that concerned you the most was that the division was getting better, right? And all of a sudden. By the way, it did, right? So
the Giants were good.
The Eagles are the world champions, the defending world champions. Washington took a huge step forward, even though I, in my heart of hearts, want to say like it can't be that good. Like let's take a step back, but they are. The Giants are, blah blah blah. With the defense is going to play better. Russ, he's won a Super Bowl. I'm not going to discredit any of that. But when you look at a healthy Dak Prescott, how does that change the landscape of the Cowboys now? There were times last year when we were struggling and Dak was the starter, right? So like Dak was in there against the Saints, the Ravens, all that stuff. And if Keith was on this podcast, he would harp on the fact that we gave up like 21 touchdowns in like 4 home games. Like it was absurd level of ridiculousness when it comes to the defense. But now healthy Dak Prescott, you add George Pickens. I flipped the script from Micah Parsons to the offensive side of the ball. I'm looking at this Dallas Cowboys team right now, and maybe this is a wrong way to look at it, but I'm looking at them as the 2024 Cincinnati Bengals. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Oh my God! Did you listen to me on today?
No, I did not.
I swear to God, oh my God! I swear to God, I literally said, take Joe Burrow and what he did last year. Take a snapshot of that. Oh my God! I gotta send you the clip. I swear to God.
Usually I don't miss your episodes, but today I was all busy.
I said this. I was Louis Scruggs was out, and so I was hosting the Players Lounge. Barry Church, DeMonte Moore, and Anthony Dorsett. I swear to God, I'm going to send you the clip. I said, take I said, take what Joe Burrow did offensively. I said, take a snapshot of that and then take it over here, Photoshop it, and here is your 2025, 2026 Cowboys offensively. I swear to God, this is literally what I said.
And you agree.
Yeah, clearly we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I 100%.
It might, listen, last year's Cincinnati Bengals defense was like historically bad, right? Historically, like they just couldn't keep up with anybody. I look at the Cowboys defense, you know, a little bit sound, right? And I love Eberflus and what he's been able to do as a coordinator, not so much as a head coach. But like, I look at the defense to be a little bit better than what the Cincinnati Bengals were able to trot out. But the problem is Cincinnati was dealing with the Browns of the world. They were dealing with the Steelers, who were on, were last year were a little bit of night and day, right? And then obviously the Baltimore Ravens are who they are. With the Cowboys defense and the Cowboys, Dak Prescott being here and having that Joe Burrow type mentality where they're going to have to score some points. The problem is I think the division is much better than the AFC North was last year. So I kind of worry in that regard because I think that, we're going to have to keep up with some seriously decent talent in the NFC East alone, right? We're sitting here waiting for 25 years to see if there's going to be anybody else that can take the division back-to-back years. I think the Eagles are primed and in position to do that this year, and I hate saying it, but like I think that they're better, they're the better team in the NFC East out of all of us. But like, where do you see the Cowboys ceiling offensively for this year?
High. I've been on record as saying that I believe, and I'm willing to push all my chips in on CeeDee Lamb. I think right now, arguably, you would say CeeDee Lamb is the top 3 receiver in this league.
I agree.
I agree.
I think that's fair. You can put Jamar Chase, you can put Justin Jefferson in there.
I say they're all interchangeable in their own way.
Right? Like, I do think right now that those two are slightly ahead of CeeDee. I just my belief. I've said it on multiple platforms. I am so high on CeeDee Lamb. I believe in what this dude is getting ready to do so much. When we get done with the 2025-2026 football season for the Dallas Cowboys, it will be CeeDee Lamb and who fits with him. He will be the number 1 receiver in the league, in my opinion. I think if Dak Prescott stays healthy, you will see him throw for 5,000 yards. He will throw for the most yards he's ever thrown for in his career. He's going to throw for the most touchdowns he's ever thrown in his career. He'll have the most passing attempts he's ever had in his career. It's going to take the Cowboys to average about 27 to 30 points a game to win. I believe that. But I think with the addition of George Pickens, I think Ferg is going to have a bounce back year. I don't believe in the running game. I do not believe in the running game.
That was one of my other questions.
I don't believe a word when Schottenheimer talks about we're going to be a physical running team. If you watch the episode when he and I had our one-on-one, not one-on-one, but when we had him on DLS, I'm like, what you saying and what you doing don't match because you're a former quarterback, so that's in your blood. You already told me that you lay up at night thinking about getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. You already told me that in a joint practice when things weren't going well for you and you got mad. What did you do? Oh, you didn't run the ball even more. You didn't ram the ball down their throat. You said, nah, I'm going to bomb this thing away. You already showed me that. You already opened up the first 2 preseason games and said, I just want to see George Pickens sling that thing around. You coaching or you fanning, boy? Like, which one is it, cuzzy? Because that ain't what you said you was going to do. And then on top of that, you don't have nothing about your running backs or your blocking up front tells me that you're going to be a physical, dominant running team. What's going to happen is you're going to get into these games and you're going to be running your head into the wall, and you're going to realize Javonte, Miles, Maffa, Blue, Lipke ain't it. What I do have, though, I got a Super Saiyan out there, number 88, okay? And I got another beast on the other side that wears number 3. And I got number 87. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread these jokers out wide, and I'm going to throw this thing around the park, and let's see where we land. I think that's going to be the formula for the Cowboys to have success. I believe. Now, does that mean they're going to win a lot of games? Don't know. But that's why I said it's going to look a lot like how the Bengals look, where where Dak Prescott's going to be out there slanging that thing across the park, and you're going to see possibly 2,000-yard receivers from George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb.
So, but then now just to piggyback off that, and I was going to ask you about the running game anyway, just because it's another committee, right? Until Thanksgiving of last year, we didn't know who our RB1 was until they were like, yeah, Rico's the guy, and it's like, oh, okay, we kind of knew that, but now that you've announced it, but now I with the threats on the outside and the emergence of a bounce back potential for Jake Ferguson, don't you think that this running back room, of all the running back rooms in the NFL, don't you think they're going to be facing a little bit of the lighter boxes because of the fact that you have to respect all the talent that's on the outside? So they might find themselves some extra daylight here and there.
Maybe. But you're telling me Javonte Williams is the guy that's going to be able to tote this thing to glory? And listen, Javonte Williams, it's a Tar Heel, right? I'm always down for my Tar Heels. Mm-hmm. Javonte Williams spoke the other day, and Javonte Williams was shocked himself that he didn't play in the preseason. That tells you all you need to know about the guy. He's like,
he brought that up.
He's like, I don't know. They didn't play me in the preseason. Even he know, damn, I should have got some spin in the preseason too. He was shocked. You know what that says about a player? When a player is shocked that he didn't play in the preseason, it wasn't like CeeDee Lamb wasn't shocked he didn't play in the preseason. He wasn't shocked at all. He's like, listen, I'm CeeDee Lamb. I'm him. I'm Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? Like I know who I am. Y'all know who I am. I don't need to. He was shocked he didn't play. Even he doesn't believe he did not need the work to go out there. So you didn't bring it. Like Javonte is not dynamic enough for me to believe that he's going to be able to take over this running game. Miles Sanders is not a guy who are dynamic enough, I believe, is going to be able to take over this running game. I think I think Jaden Blue has juice, but I don't think he's a guy you can give the ball to 20 times a game, right? He's more of a guy you give the ball to 8 to 12 times a game. So right. I just believe, and then we're talking about an offensive line with 4 question marks. 4. There's only one short thing that you have up front.
That's Tyler Smith.
That's it. You don't know who.
I guess I'm
what is Nate Thomas?
Tyler Booker, I guess.
What is Nate Thomas? What is Tyler Guyton?
Well, I mean, we know what Tyler Guyton is so far. We for everybody, and when he went down this year, everybody was like panic mode, and I was like, "What are you guys panicking for? You wanted to bench him 2 weeks ago." It's like, right. What are you talking about? And Tyler Booker, I'm not down on Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker has 28 preseason snaps, and you have to now welcome to the NFL, and your first go at it is Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter. And where Tyler Booker struggled at was with athletic defensive tackles. Oh, by the way, once you get done with those 2 monsters, next week, welcome to the National Football League. You got to deal with Sexy Dexy. Good luck with that, young fella. Like I'm not saying that he won't have success. This is a trial I've ever seen.
We should have gotten the burn.
We don't know. And now tell me, what Terrence Steele are we getting?
All right, so Jesse, let me ask you though, man, because we talk about this all the time. Why is that like we saw the Kansas City Chiefs put their first team in at least for how many series? We don't. Why don't we do that in pre? I get that you want to protect Dak or like you said, CD, but a lot of these other guys need to get those reps, and they just don't do it. I don't understand it.
I believe that if it was up to Brian Schottenheimer, if he had full carte blanche, if he had full control, they would have played. I
believe so too.
I do. But
how many times did Jerry talk about injuries and stuff or availability?
So afraid. Right? He is so afraid that something is going to happen to one of his moneymakers, and it's going to ruin his ability to market.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his soul when Romo went down in 15. He lost it.
Not win games.
And then we lost Overshown too in preseason.
Yeah, but you lost guys in practice. So should we not practice as well?
Yeah, I know.
I get people have the arguments about preseason, but on Thursday night at 7:30 Central Time, okay, Dak Prescott will take the field for the first time since October of last year. Like, say whatever you want, there will be some rust.
No, we're all in agreement, man.
Listen, Jesse, I'm not out here asking for Dak Prescott to go out there and sling it in the preseason. Get the cadence down, get a rep handing the ball up, maybe pitch one to the outside, maybe a direct bubble screen, something quick, get off the field. That's it. Just give that.
Even your offensive line, they haven't truly played together. So what happens now when the heat is on and Philly's the crowd is lit and they cussing at you and Jalen Carter's slobbing and now you're trying to get calls and people ain't getting the calls because they just haven't worked well enough together. Like, that's the part I want. I want the cohesiveness. I do a show with Nate Newton, and Nate Newton talks about it all the time. He goes, what made us so great, not that we were just dominant like that, but we had a communication, we had a cohesiveness that was top tier. Like, guys didn't even have to talk. He was like, 2-and-A could say, like, look at me, and I knew what he meant. He's like, Big A can make a grunt, and we knew what he meant. And that because we had so much time together. And that's the thing about offensive line is that it has to fit like a glove because you can have 4 guys doing the right thing and a 5th guy not, and now it blows the play up.
I say that all the time. It's like synchronized swimming, man. You got to be on the same page and you got to know what each other's doing. And the only way to do that, you got to get those reps, man. And at least something in preseason, maybe a series or 2, just anything.
And the thing that worries me about the running game is of course, I cover this team. I was at training camp. You guys are following this team closely. Tell me a day in training camp. Tell me a day that you heard anyone report that the running game dominated practice.
Right.
And we're talking about our defensive line.
So
there wasn't one day where you looked up and it was like, today, that running game got after the defense. Not one day.
You know what's crazy, Jess? I think the only time that the Cowboys nation in unison were talking about a decent running game is when off the streets Malik Davis came out of nowhere and had some burst in the preseason. That's it. Like that's really it. Like, we're all waiting for Jaden Blue. He gets hurt. We're all looking at Phil Maffa. Like, oh, Maffa looks like he's got something. And then he doesn't do much. You know what I mean? Then he gets put on IR. It's like, okay, like, let's all pump the brakes. I'm with you. I think that do I think Javonte Williams will be serviceable? Yeah. Do I think Miles Sanders might make a play or 2? Yeah, I do. But when you're talking about Schottenheimer and the ways he's trying to coach this team, we're going to be smash mouth. We're going to run it down your throat. It's like, yeah. Oh, all right. Who are you trying to sell that to? Because it sounds like you're trying to convince yourself.
And the other thing is there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And you got to get hurt early. I know it sounds crazy, but then you Jesse too, you're playing hurt the whole season. You're going to play hurt, but you want to get hurt early. And even if it's in preseason, because that's been our complaint till the second, third game, we start to move that. Like, the third game of the season shouldn't be our preseason. You know what I mean? We should be getting those reps in early, get your little minor injuries. So you're getting used to them. Mm-hmm. And it's just I never understood it, man. But we noticed the same thing. It's like, come on, we're like one of the only teams.
Yeah, no, Jerry's deathly afraid for anything, especially when it comes to Dak Prescott. He's seen what that looks like when not having him out there, and it's tough to sell ads when they look up and they go, your quarterback's not there. You don't really have a chance to win every week, because if you have a quarterback, especially one of caliber of Dak Prescott, you do have a chance. Whatever that chance may be, you have one. And I guess this year in particular, when they looked up and they was like, we've ripped. And I didn't think about that until just now. Maybe they looked up and said, we can't afford to lose Dak Prescott because we don't have Cooper Rush anymore. And they know what they had in Joe Milton. You didn't need 3 preseason games to tell you that. Like, if you're an evaluator, like Shotty, you played the position. You coach quarterbacks. You've been on the offensive side of the ball. You didn't need 6 months to tell you what Joe Milton was. Yeah. You knew 3 months ago. You knew 3 months ago. And what ended up happening was the word from upstairs came down to you, and they said, make it work. I gave a 4th-round pickup for this. Do the same thing we did with Trey Lance. Make it work. You're like, oh, this guy's not really ready for the big show. Make it work. Keep putting them out there. It's I got to sell this dream to the fans that this is going to be all right.
Yeah, and for anybody touting that Joe Milton is the successor, I think everybody just needs to pump the brakes a little bit. We saw some flashes of good towards the back end, but again, he might have been thrown against guys that will be bagging groceries at Stop and Shop tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I'm not bashing the guy by any means, and I think he's got a raw skill set. I think he's actually going to be okay in this league as a starter. I don't know, so that's why you keep Dak Prescott in bubble wrap, considering what we just went through last year and all the years of the Romo injuries. It's like we never had a guy that could step in. Cooper Rush, he was like an enigma to me. I was like, he came in and he won some games. And I was like, oh, all right. We got somebody that can run an offense, a smart dude, can't run like Dak did. But then again, do we even want Dak running? You know what I mean? So it was like a catch-22 double-edged sword a million times over with the quarterback position. But so we've talked obviously about Dak. We've talked about the wide receiver core
this year, though, man. He's the key this year. If Dak needs to have the best season that he's ever had, and if it ain't this year, then we got to start looking next year.
Well, I think that the start looking process that's been in the back of the mind. He's coming into season 10, right? Now you're floating and flirting with like the Drew Brees and the Peyton Mannings and the John Elways of the world. We're like, okay, if he hasn't done it yet, is he ever going to do it? And if he does, is it going to be like a swan song? Like, hey, I told you guys I would do it. You know what I mean? Like that'd be great.
After 10 years, to still have some kind of questions. You know what I mean? Because
that's the thing, though, Brett. I think that like when Romo was playing in his early days, I was like, dude, every time this guy dropped back to pass, I mean, look, Jesse knows he played with him. Like, he's not going to say it publicly, but I'm saying like every time Romo dropped back to pass in his early days, I was like, where's this going? Is it going to be batted? Is it going to be picked? Is it, something bad is going to happen? Towards the back end of Romo's career, 2014 into 2015, even 2013, I was like, you know what? Let the dude sling the rock around. I'm not as worried. Right now, Dak Prescott, I'm not as worried. Does he still have those horrific tendencies sometimes where it's like, well, you saw the Green Bay game, everybody's seen pick six and all these other interceptions. And even in the Steeler win somehow last year, he was throwing interceptions. So it's like, but for every bad throw that Dak has, he'll make up for it down the line. So I'm looking at
10 years, you got to have that consistency. And sometimes
of course.
a different guy shows up. I'm
a firm believer.
I mean, again, we're not back there, obviously. We're just speaking as fans and for us, I just think that this will define him this year. I mean, this is it for me as far as for him. This year 10, buddy.
Yeah,
you can't have these flashes of greatness and then make some. But I mean, you're gonna screw up. I mean, it happens.
They all do. Everybody does. Every elite quarterback.
But it's when do you fuck up? When do you not?
So if you remember correctly against the Philadelphia Eagles not too long ago, he threw like a batted ball pick six. I was like, oh boy, like are the wheels gonna fall off? Dak Prescott for a little while for me was one of those guys that like even if you've made a mistake, he didn't get rattled. Right, he went to the sideline. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna go back out there, and I'm just gonna lead the next drive." So that's what you need. You need mental clarity, and you need him to stay right.
Now he's got Pickens, which is gonna really help CD.
He has his most effective offense that he's had airways, through the air on paper that he's ever had. So now, all that being said, we know we've talked about it already. The Cincinnati Bengals, no defense, blah blah blah. Talked a little bit about the linebackers, a little bit about the defensive end. Jesse, last year you said that you talked to, or 2 years ago maybe, you talked to Al Harris when he was on the coaching staff.
You wait till I see Al Harris. You wait till I see Al Harris. You wait till I see Al Harris. I'm going to call him a lion, bleepity bleep. He owed me an apology.
That's what I was alluding to. You told us Carson was going to be like this ball hawking guy, and I'm like, oh man. But that wasn't, again, that was on Al, not you. But now when you look at, you got new money bags, right? You got DeRon Bland getting paid. Thank God that happened, because I was like, I almost felt like it was a shock where I was like, wait, whoa, they got ahead of one. Could this be a turn of the tide? You got DeRon Bland, you got Trayvon Diggs, who's turning heads now. All of a sudden, it's like everybody was kind of like, yeah, he's not going to see the field until October, or maybe Halloween. And all of a sudden, he might be suiting up week one. And then, of course, you have Elam in the trade, and you have Revel coming back from injury. How do you look at this cornerback crew? Because this is a passing league no matter what. And of course, we want to stop the run. And, of course, we want to stop and get to the quarterback and all that good stuff. But we've talked about it at length on this show. Specifically, Brett has harped on this. Cornerback, defensive back is the hardest position to play in the NFL. you don't know which way is up. You have to figure out, you have to guess most of the time of where this receiver is going to go. Do you think that we have the secondary that will fare okay? I don't want to say they're going to be elite and take the ball away like they did a couple years ago with DaRon Bland's pick 6 record. Is this a sound defensive back unit this year?
Yes. DaRon Bland he's not a superstar. DaRon Bland's a really good player, right? Like Trayvon Diggs, if he comes back and he is like, I know that he's cleared medically, 100% cleared medically, but where is he at confidently, right? Like, does he feel like, because there's one thing to talk about feeling confidently, and then I have to go out there and look across and see Devontae Smith or AJ Brown coming at you play after play, right? So, but to your point, to go back to a Harper point that Brett we were talking about earlier was, can you get to the quarterback? Because I don't give a damn if you got Darrelle Revis and Deion Sanders.
That was my point. That was going to be my point.
If the quarterback has 19 minutes to throw the ball, it won't make a difference. That's where I come to that point where, feel how you feel about Micah, but when offensive teams opened up their game plan book for the week, they circled Micah Parsons. When the offensive team broke the huddle, offensive linemen were like this. Where's number 11? There he is. Mm-hmm. All right, we're sliding that way, right? Like quarterbacks looked at that and was like, oh, there's Micah Parsons. I know he's coming up. Oh, he's right over top of me in the center. God darn, he's probably about to beat my center. This ball has to come out fast. So those are the type of things that when teams are preparing, when quarterbacks are seeing this, having that elite player out there, it matters. It matters in those moments where you really need it. And so I think DaRon Bland's really good player. I think if Trayvon Diggs gets back to what he was, a really good player. I think Kyer Elam has traits of being a really good player. But if they're out there on the island in this Eberflus offense and they aren't having guys get to the quarterback, because I don't believe that there's one guy that we have up front that is surefire by himself can win a bunch of one-on-one matchups. That's just my belief. You don't have to agree with me, but I saw it look like when I had Micah Parsons. He was a surefire, bona fide. And this is why, like I know people's like, oh, we're going to be a better team defense. This is what – stop with that, okay? Stop. This is why they pay those guys that type of money. Teams go in the draft every single year looking for Myles Garrett, looking for Micah Parsons, looking for T.J. Watt, looking for a Bosa, looking for a Hutchinson. That's why those guys are regarded the way that they are, because they are an absolute solo game wrecker. They change the course of the game solo dolo, okay? And the rest of the guys are able to eat off that. But I think the secondary is fine if they don't have to cover forever. In this Matt Eberflus offense, you're going to play a lot of zone coverage. You're going to play some man, but you're going to play a lot of zone coverage. You're going to play some cover 3, that type of stuff, where a lot of the guys are going to be off looking in at the quarterback, trying to decipher how these routes are going to be run. That right there, you got to be willing to come up and tackle. You got to be a willing participant in a tackling game in this Eberflus offense. Trayvon Diggs for a long time, he has been one of those guys. The whole D's nuts comment came from him not being able to tackle, but unwilling to participate in tackling. And then when he did the right thing, a reporter, mistakenly called him out, got offended by it. So to answer the question, I'm confident that DaRon Bland will be a really good player. I'm confident that Diggs, if mentally right and put together, will be a decent player. How will the guys up front get to the quarterback to allow their jobs to be easier? If not, if you're playing zone coverage and nobody's getting to the quarterback with that front 4, it's going to be trouble back there.
Yeah, like he said, you could add, if they have all day to pass, any corner in the NFL, even Deion, you're gonna get beat. You got to get to that quarterback. And I love our safeties though. I think we got a strong safety room.
Dono and Hooker have been staples of this defense for a while, so it's like you would hope that they would. And
they bring it, man. They'll bring the weight.
They'll bring it 100%.
You don't want Donovan Wilson covering anybody. Stop.
No.
Stop.
No, you want him to hit somebody.
Donovan Wilson is out there. You better get Wanye out there. Okay, you better get Wanye out there to cover guys. You don't want Donovan Wilson covering guys. Malik Hooker is
playing zone though. I don't know.
It helps to a certain extent, but Wanye, trust me, I'm a big fan of his. I think that dude's a baller, and I think that when he'll see the field more this year. I think.
If you're playing zone, you know that's where your outside linebackers come in, right? Getting under the curl, taking those underneaths away, and I didn't really see a lot of that in preseason.
No, but they didn't show you shit. They didn't show anything of any sort. You weren't seeing any kind of looks on defense. You sure shit weren't seeing anything off the offensive playbook. So look, the Cowboys have talent. Unfortunately, so does the NFC East, right? And obviously, I don't want to take away some of your thunder with some of your prediction shows coming up, Jesse, because I'm not going to make you make an Eagles prediction. But if you look at the Cowboys right now as a whole, the Las Vegas over-under is 7.5 wins. I saw Cynthia Freeland of NFL Network broke my heart yesterday because I love her personally, but she broke my heart yesterday with her mathematics and all this other shit and said that the ceiling was 6 and the floor was 4 or something like that. I was like, good Lord, like just based off her metrics. But like you're looking at a team now coming in with Dak Prescott healthy. The defense is obviously a brand new look. The team just literally lost their best player in a trade, where they have to get some, they got to get some continuity and some, gel as a unit. 7-10 last year. Dak Prescott's hurt most of the year. Where do you see what's the ceiling for you? And what's the bottom out for you for the Cowboys in 2025?
Yeah, I'm the one thing that's worried me this entire offseason, and I'm not a gambler. I respect Vegas. They obviously know something that we don't know, right? That's why the lights are on there 24 hours a day, right? Mm-hmm. They're not losing much. And they never came off that 7.5. Like I'm talking about from January. They never draft happened, trades happened, new coach hired, off season happened. Like they never, like for nothing. I'm like, damn, Vegas ain't budging off this number. What do they know? What do they know that we don't know? What are they seeing that we aren't seeing that they have budged off that number? That's always been concerning to me. I'm like, oh, it's gonna move, right? It's gonna be 9 eventually. It's gonna be 10 eventually. Like Vegas, like nah. We're not moving. And so for me, I think ceiling for this team, like ceiling, I'm talking about Michael Jordan, ceiling is the roof.
Everything goes right.
10 wins.
That's where I'm at too.
10 wins. Everything goes right. Dak is healthy. They continue on that trajectory of doing everything right. Like I think they would offensively, and CD is a beast. 10 wins. And then the floor, 7. I'm right there with Vegas between 7 and 10 for me. The floor is 7. The Cowboys have the 9th toughest schedule in the league. You got to play
on the back end.
And it is that stretch they got to go in that back end, boy.
It's a gauntlet.
Now, to dispel any magical stuff about Vegas, because I had a gambling show out here.
And Brett's a freak. Brett lives out there.
The number one handicapper, shout out to Jay Rude. He explained to me what they do. And all they do is they put the numbers in a computer and they're going on last year's statistics. They're going on, and then that's why it stays a certain way. When the season starts, then they start to factor in. They just put it all in a computer and whatever comes out, comes out. And so a lot of the 7 and they're not moving is based on last year, right? Mm-hmm. How many yards per game, how many points. They don't even do analytics, right?
Yeah, but what did you think that would change considering draft, free agency, trades?
No, they don't do that yet, man. It's everything changes as the season goes, but they're just going on last year. That's why I think 10 is a reasonable ceiling. 10 is a reasonable ceiling because you also have to factor in the other teams are still going through the same shit too, right? So we're looking at the back end of our schedule going, holy shit, they may be amazing. They may suck. We don't know. We don't know. So everything's based on last year's performances. And that's all you have to go on. Yeah. Right. That's all we have to go on because, we see it every year. I mean, we talk about that Saints game, that second game of the season. We're like, wow, this team's amazing. The Saints are tough. And then they shit the bed, so you don't know. But I think 10, I think we're all in agreement. I think 10's a reasonable ceiling.
I say if they get like a one weirdo bounce where it's like, me and my father look at each other like they had no business winning that game, then maybe there's an 11.
And it could be game one. It could be against the Eagles.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to make Jesse make any predictions, but you and I are going to make them because I'm sure he's got plenty of coverage coming up in the next 2 days. But I'm going to tell you right now, Dallas Cowboys are going to go into Philly and win that game. And I don't know how. I just got this. I have never been so – and look, I could be on Old Takes Exposed tomorrow, but I've never been so – this is your shot to punch the champs in the mouth when they're not at full force. And when I say full force, I'm not saying they're injured or banged up. I'm saying it's week one. Anything can happen. We saw the Lions, fuck around with the Chiefs for a little while. You know what I mean?
Say we win, but if we're gonna pull an upset, it could be game one. But I still think the Eagles are gonna pull it out, man. I think we're gonna show some fight, and we'll see some things. But if I like to gamble, and there's no way I would even touch that game.
I could see what's a game one, so it's Tirico and Collinsworth, right? So I can see Tirico just going out of his mind when Brandon Aubrey sinks one from 58.
Well, that's our secret weapon. All we got to do,
Jess, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, Jesse. All they have to do this year. This is the plan of action to score on every drive. Go 15 yards. Go 15 yards. Go 15 yards.
Every time. Score every drive. Every single drive. That's
every
it.
Drive,
You do that. I tell people all the time, there's not an offensive coordinator in the world that's ever written up a play, drawn up a play that wasn't supposed to score a touchdown. Not one. Every play is supposed to score a touchdown. There's not one OC that's like, yeah, this play right here, this play, if we block this play absolutely right, 6-yard gain. No, there's no play in anyone's offensive coordinator book that has that. Every single one of their plays is to score a touchdown. So
I'm telling you, 15 yards. You get the ball in the 30. You get the ball in the 30. All you got to do is make the midfield, get to the midfield stripe, and all of a sudden, Brandon Aubrey's got it.
We got Aubrey-matic. We'll take the 3.
Take the 3. We're gonna win a lot of games. I remember there was one game way back in the day. We beat the Packers 21-0 on 7 Chris Bonial field goals. So don't tell me it can't happen. Don't tell me that dream's dead. So, Jesse, bro, thank you, obviously, for coming on board with us as the. I'm not going to call you an honorary Jersey boy anymore. You're a Jersey boy.
You know what I love when Jesse comes on the show is he reaffirms a lot of the shit that we say.
Right. It gives us validation because you've obviously played the game. You're there. You're literally boots on the ground watching the game. You're literally in the studio as we speak right now. For Dallas Cowboys media
right now.
Yeah.
Are we seeing? Because sometimes you'll see these people, the experts online that never played, and they all have their opinions, and we're always not going against them on purpose, but it's like, are we seeing something they're not? You know what I mean? And I think we are.
Well, I think a lot of times, I don't know, some of the experts or the one that you're talking about, I do believe that, as there is a fandom in you. So that tilts your decision making a little bit, right?
Like there's more cynicism than optimism for as long as I've been a fan. You know what I mean? It's really hard to. We always say that my line is Dad's not coming home.
Yeah,
he went for cigarettes and he's not. He's not.
Right. Trust me, I know. I was left on the porch many times, many years ago. I get it. I 100% get it. But I mean, I don't know, man. This is being a Cowboy fan, being associated with them, being around this organization for the last 15, 16 years. I get a chance to see and witness and talk to a lot of different people, and it's difficult at times. It's difficult at times because you want to see this team win. We all want to see them win, right? For whatever reason you have fandom, bragging rights. I laugh jokingly, but to have seriously, when the Cowboys win, I make more money. Like I want to, there's monetary reasons that's involved in this, and not because I'm gambling, but because ratings are up. When ratings are up, bonuses come in, all that kind of good stuff. There's a multitude of stuff. But then when you sit down and you look at the facts of the matter, that's where it becomes a little bit depressing. And we didn't even talk about it, but You want to know how the people who run this organization think? If you watch the documentary, it's plain as day. It's
right.
plain as day. Like, this is a business. This isn't your normal football running franchise. This is not run by people or a person that is looking to make the best decisions for the team, right? Like, don't confuse the order in which things are said. Owner, president, general manager, not the opposite way, right? Not the opposite way. Like, you hear it if you just watch and just like read the tea leaves. You hear it over and over and over and over and over again. When they were winning Super Bowls, it wasn't, oh yay, we won Super Bowls. It was, we still ain't turning a profit, y'all. We got to turn a profit. And that you won the Super Bowl, and it was still front of your mind, your core, your heart was, we got to make money. And that has been the driving force behind this thing for a very long time. And it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed one bit. And, I'm not saying that Shotty can't come in here and change the culture. But I've said my differences between culture and way. You know what I'm saying? The places that have a way is different than the places that have a culture. When you hear about the Ravens way, the Steelers way, the Patriots way, that type of way is a top-down situation, and everybody's on one accord. When you have a culture, you have a small huddle of people trying to come together as tight as possible to knock out the outside forces. Well, it's really tough, and the forces that you're trying to knock out is in the same building as you. That's what makes it very, very difficult. And so, I want to see this team win. I want the team to go 17-0.
Just to put it in perspective, and I've been a fan since 1979. Okay, February, right? We haven't been to an NFC Championship game in 30 years, and we're still number 2 with 14 appearances. Okay, and we haven't been in 30 years. The Niners are the only ones that have more than us. We haven't been in 30 years, and we're still number 2 in the NFC for NFC Championship appearances. That's insanity. That's how far we've fallen. And we still, I think we're 8 Super Bowls. And we haven't been in 30 years.
All right, you're depressed me.
That's culture. That's the Cowboy. That's what we were known for.
So my final thing, Jess, and just because of what you just hit on with the Joneses.
Don't glance that over. Don't glance that over.
I'm not glancing that over. I'm just
the cynicism comes from.
Tired of hearing about it. It just makes me nuts.
You just started in the 90s, man. It's been brutal.
Right. I wasn't there for Jackie Smith. I wasn't there. I get it. I wasn't there for the catch. I get it. My father makes me believe that I was there. Trust me on that one. But my last thing, Jess, just because you touched on it before with the Joneses and the way this team runs as a business. And this is just a hypothetical, me being maybe a little bit more of a fanboy on this one. Do you think with the trade of George Pickens to the Cowboys, where we were like, well, we were so worried about that too. And now, oh, okay, cool. This is new. This is different, right? And now you have the trade of Micah Parsons giving us 2 first-round picks. Now, look, we don't know how it's going to play out. But this has to be the most different Jerry Jones has ever been as far as, like, acquiring talent and then making some significant noise with a monster trade. Like, do you think this is at all a turning of the tide? I understand all the media tours that he did.
This is toxic. You have no direction. What direction are you going in? Okay, you go get George Pickens. You're like, oh, okay, this might be an all-in move. Then you do nothing else. You do nothing else to add on to that. Like, and then you go and you trade away your best player. Wait, what are we doing here? We went and got George Pickens. We going in, right? Nah, not quite. We're going to trade away our best player. And then you try to convince us that Kenny Clark is going to come in here and be the savior of the defensive line. Like, this is the most toxic thing ever. There's no direction. What's direction are we going in? Are we going to win a Super Bowl? Are we rebuilding? Like, what is happening? Because you're talking about 2 first-round picks. That's future stuff. That's 2026, 2027, right? That's future talk. So what are we doing here? Because a part of me says you were going all in, then you trade away your best player, tells me, all right, now you're rebuilding. Like, that is toxicity at its finest. We don't know which direction we're going in. You just got a new head coach. Like, where are we going with this? where are we going? You bring in a 30-year-old guy like Kenny Clark is on the last leg of his career, not the front end of his career. So that's my thing is you got 2 more years before you got to make a decision. You got this year, next year, and now you got to start really having a conversation about Dak Prescott, right? Which way are we going to go? Like, no, this is toxic as toxic gets, and it's right on par, just a different level of toxicity that we've seen. We're 2 days away from opening the NFL season. No one can tell me what the identity of the Dallas Cowboys are.
I agree.
Not yet, at least.
Nobody can tell me that. No one can tell me what. No one can confidently tell me what are we really hanging our hats on. Like, what are we really going to be like? You know what? I can stamp this. That's going to work.
Brandon effing Aubrey.
Well, Dave, to address your comment though, I don't think Jerry changed. I think this was an ego thing, and Jerry became, I'll show you. I don't care. You want to test me? I'll get rid of him.
Yeah, Jerry. I'll talk about
it was more of Jerry's ego trumping the other.
Felt like an asthma move from Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, look, the agents, the way they operate, they try to get they had leverage, and I don't think Jerry liked it and said bye.
Yeah, I know.
I'll prove it to you. I don't think it was like I'm going to go and do something different, because what he said in the press conference didn't make sense, because you still offered him a contract that would have made him the highest paid non-quarterback. It wasn't as much as Green Bay gave him, but he was still willing to give that money up. And then when they wouldn't budge, it became a pissing contest. And he said, well, I'm going to show you.
Right.
Bye.
And here we are. So here we are 2 days away.
But I'm not optimistic as a fan. I do think we may be able, now that it's gone. There's nothing else we could do. We can't go back. And it's just, it's a finality. It's like, all right, now let's just start getting ready for the Eagles. So,
let's start getting ready for the Eagles.
Let's be honest. If he didn't trade him, he probably still wouldn't have been signed. There's still would have been some type of shit going on.
I'll be honest with you. Even if he didn't sign Micah Parsons, I highly, 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 highly doubt Micah was going to miss a game. That's just my personal opinion.
It's a lot of that's a lot of do-re mi to pass up when you're sitting out. You know what I mean? Like,
Micah wasn't going to miss a game. That's just my personal opinion. I think he was going to take it up to the very last moment and then go, all right, I'll play on a tag, but I'm gonna make life a living hell all offseason next year for you, and then we'll do this song and dance again. But I just find it hard to believe that Micah wasn't going to play, and wasn't.
Yeah, I was hoping he would do what Dak did and bet on himself and play on the tag.
I think these guys are. You know what? This is the age gap. I think, and it's just me talking out loud. I just think this is the age gap of a man like Dak, who's over 30, to a young man in Micah Parsons, who's got to get his right now. So that's how I leave that one. But anyway, Jesse, man, thank you so much once again for joining us on the Jersey Boyz Podcast. I know every year we go into this, we're all jazzed up, we're going to talk, and then we talk to Jesse, and we get brought down a couple pegs.
Well,
and it's not
the reality of it.
It's a reality. It's a reality check when we talk to Jesse Holley, because he's right there. He's knee deep in it. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Anytime, guys. Y'all my dudes, man. Anytime, anywhere, any place, I got you.
And maybe we'll try to revisit this around Thanksgiving. We'll all jump on a Jersey Boyz podcast and Thanksgiving, and then we'll figure out where we're at that point. Because as of right now, nobody has a clue. So we'll see what happens. For Dave Sturchio, Jesse Holley, and of course.
Oh, we're not doing our picks?
Oh, I already told you that we're going in. I'm not going to make Jesse do it because he might be doing it.
We can do it.
Different.
By the way, Jess, I'll be in Dallas September 19th through the 20th if you want to come down. I'll be at Hyenas Comedy Club.
Nah, you're not going to roast me in the front row. I'm gonna sit.
No, I don't do that. I don't do that.
Yeah, he's not a crowd guy.
He just tells stories.
I'll
yeah,
get up there. Will Smith you. You know what I'm saying? I'll get up there. Will Smith you a little bit, you know
They got security, Jesse.
I will Smith them too. I've seen security those comedy clubs. They ain't bigger than me, so I ain't worried about
All right, Jesse, give it to me. Cowboys, Eagles.
Yeah, Cowboys, Eagles, Thursday Night Football. I got the Eagles winning 28-12. 28-12. 4 field goals probably from Brandon Aubrey. That's your offensive player right there, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Brett, what do you got?
I think it'll be a little closer, but I think I got us losing like 27-18.
Okay. All right. Well, since they are taking that road and saying that we have no friggin' chance, I'm going to be the one, an optimist, and maybe a little slight delusion, and say the Cowboys win this thing 31-30 on a last second.
Okay.
31-30. So that's it. I'm going for broke, man. This is Dak. You're my guy, Dak. You're my guy. Dude, get this shit done. All right, get it done. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. Go follow Jesse, Mr. Fourth and Long, on Twitter. He's one of the most active members of Twitter I've ever seen, and it's awesome. He will, dude. You know what's the best part, Jesse? Real quick, what you could wake up and say, thank you, God. People are like, oh, was it Micah? Like,
yeah. I'm like, what? I was like, the internet's crazy, man. But yeah, follow me at Mr. Fourth and Long. Let me take a deep breath because I tell you everywhere that I'm at. Follow me, DLS Cowboys Podcast. Follow me. Watch my show on DallasCowboys.com, Hanging with the Boys. Watch me on Thursdays. I'm doing college football kickoff on Amazon. Yeah, I'm outside. I'm outside, Dave. Follow me, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Also, Believe in the Cowboys. Is there anything else that I'm missing? No. I think that's it.
I would hate to be your tax guy. That's all I'm saying.
Let me tell you about it, man.
Yeah. Last year, 17.
Yeah, for real. I gotta bring in no W-2s, no 1099s, and all that nonsense. Nonsense.
Hell yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go Cowboys. Only one of us is picking them. We'll get Keith's pick next week after they win or lose, I'm sure. So, take care, everybody. Good night.
All right, later.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about